Today I'll be reacting to the Slugburger by Kent Rollins. My friends, I'm so excited for this one. But before we go into that, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much. It's the best way to show support. Now, if you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You know what? I'm actually live, so I have a lot of beautiful people with me. You make my day. You make my day. Oh my God, they all know you make my day if you subscribe. So please consider to do it. That said, link for the original video below. Let's play it.
Guess what, folks? Pony Express just...
Oh man, I have been missing Kent Rollins.
Guess what, folks?
Wait. For Kent Rollins, we stop the Lord of the Rings music. What? We have to show respect.
Pony Express just rode in.
Huh?
Got some fan mail from Mac. Well, this is just for effect. He sent us an email, but I want to read it to you.
Okay.
I've lived in Florence, Alabama.
How the hell do you send an email? Oh, they end up printing the email. Okay.
Sent us an email, but I want to read it to you. I've lived in Florence, Alabama for over 20 years, living close to the Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee area. We grew up eating a burger, everyone called Slugburger.
Slugburger. Never heard about this one.
It originated in Mississippi during the Great Depression, and I wanted to share this with you in case you'd like to give it a try and maybe even like to make a video out of it to share this unique burger and a little bit of Southern history with it.
I mean, slug does not mean what I'm thinking it means, right? Right, my friends? Look, my friends, look, now I'm going to be honest with you. I love America. I love Americans. But you guys did the craziest things ever. There is no way we are going to react to... You know, when I ended up reading the name, I didn't realize what slugs... A slug is like a snail, right? Look, my friends, okay, I was okay with rattlesnakes. I thought it was disgusting, but I was okay. Then some people told me, Andre, guess what? I'm eating fried alligator right now. I was like, oh my. But I still was okay. This one, too far even for me.
Others. Hey, Mac, that's a great idea, so let's do it, you want to?
Please tell me that's meat, right? No, that looks like meat. If looks like meat, if tastes like meat, it's meat.
Ribeyes, prime rib, big old steaks of any kind, they always got all the glory. But folks, let's look back on history a little bit and look at this Slugburger. Because...
Oh, please don't say. What about snails? They don't get any love.
It's what helped the nation survive during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, and I can't wait to try it out. Now our story begins down south, in a railroad town of Corinth, Mississippi, right around the 1910s. A man named John Weeks rolled into town after spending some time up north in Chicago. Now he wasn't a fancy chef, just a hard-working feller who knew how to make a dollar go a little bit farther. Okay. While up in Chicago, John had learned a trick from German immigrants. Folks who...
Oh my God, Europeans, we are the ones that created this?
Knew how to stretch meat in lean times. They'd grind in fillers like breadcrumbs, potato flour, even soy meal, and blend them with the meat. John brought that know-how back to Mississippi. He set up...
Okay, so far so good.
...up a burger stand and started mixing ground beef with soy grits, sometimes cornmeal or flour. Instead of grilling up these patties, he'd deep fry them until they were crisp and golden on the outside. They called it a Slugburger. Now, slug, back in them times, was slang for a counterfeit nickel. And for just...
Hallelujah. Okay, finally, my friends, there is no slugs. No, you thought oh, yeah. No, my friends, come on.
Now, slug, back in them times, was slang for a counterfeit nickel. And for just a slug, you could walk away with a hot burger and maybe a bottle of soda pop too. You know, food back then didn't just feed your stomach. It fed your soul. It gave you hope, helped you get through the dark times. Now, before we get into this Slugburger, let's talk about an old meal that always...
Anyone remember the Great Depression? I'm not even joking. I mean, I have people that are a bit older than me, so...
was at my table when we were growing up, but a side dish back during the Great Depression in these dark days. What was it? Copper pennies.
I have this tool, by the way. And the person that sent me that was the same person that ended up donating $100. We need more users like him. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, it didn't take long to chop them up. And did you see how that hash knife works so easy? You just roll it around.
John, we started a bit early, but I'm so happy to see you right now.
Therapy for your soul it is. We did a video not long ago on old tools that Cookie had. We still use that on the wagon all the time.
They're amazing.
We got all them carrots in there. And I remember my mother always told us when we was little, you know, I can get y'all to eat carrots out of a roast, or I can fix them this way and y'all eat them like dessert. To me, this was sort of like a dessert, because when you got this all made, you could take a biscuit and sop that juice that was on these carrots. Oh my gosh, it didn't get no better than that. But we'd grow them carrots at home in the garden. Mama always had a big one, and she'd put them up sometime fruit jars. They'd be in the cellar. But when she'd pull them fresh right out of the garden and she'd make copper pennies, you could smell it in the kitchen when you come in there. Oh, so we're going to add a little...
My friends, is this accent, this Kent Rawlings accent, is the Oklahoma accent? It's really good.
Water. Not much, just enough to sort of cover the bottom of it, because in goes next what? Butter. Now, I don't remember how much butter my mother put in there, but she made her own butter, and this is pretty
That's a lot of butter, and Portuguese butter is expensive.
close to that. And she always used brown sugar. Now, to me, that's what it made it taste sort of like holiday, but...
My friends, I have a question here. Is brown sugar the same as yellow sugar? Because we call yellow sugar here, and I'm always a bit, is the same thing or not? Because I think it's the same thing.
There ain't nothing better than this to me. We're gonna get this to cooking. Now, we may add a little more brown sugar to it when we get close to the end, but I'll get it on the fire.
Never heard of yellow sugar? Is not the same?
Big news
Breaking news?
is coming, and I'm asking y'all a favor. We have been working on a project for about 8 years.
Tell me.
It is something me and Shan dreamed of, but it showcases something that we love. And
Coming to Portugal and recording a bunch of Portuguese recipes. Did I got it right?
we're going to have a video come out at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to give you the full scoop on what's happening. So set your calendar, put a reminder on your watch, or tape it on your butt, because it is going to be big news.
Wait. And he's going to leave us like that? What happened?
These sweet and tangy carrots were popular during the Depression when folks needed food that could be made ahead of time.
Wait. They are eating a... This is a carrot with sugar?
Didn't spoil
Tremendous idea.
fast and used whatever they had in the root cellar or the pantry. Why did they call them copper pennies? Well, just take a look. They look like a jar full of spare change, and back then, folks needed every cent to count. This dish could sit in the icebox for days and only get better over time. Smart cooking from a time when nothing went to waste.
My friends, I end up realizing with the cooking show that Americans use carrots a lot. Are carrots really good for your health? I think so, right?
Easiest thing to put on the table it is copper pennies. Now when I had it over at the stove, I added some brown sugar, but folks, you can cut the water back just a little if you want it thicker than that, but I guarantee you when we served it, Everybody was ready to get to the bottom of the bowl where the juice was and put that biscuit in there. Thank you, Mama, for this dish. It's so good. I tip my hat to the greatest generation that ever lived, those that went through the Dust Bowl and the Depression. But back in the Depression...
Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys think that was the best generation America ever produced?
In war years, there were a few different ways to fix them, depending on what you had on hand and the season. The classic copper pennies used boiled carrots that were marinated in vinegar, sugar, and tomato soup, with sliced onions and peppers. Pretty simple to put together. Potato flakes, little ground beef. But back in the 1930s, the government was pushing a wartime protein that they needed people to eat, needed to know that it was a meat
Toughest generation, they are survivors. Okay.
substitute maybe. That was soybean meal. Whew. Even grits were becoming involved. But today, we just going traditional with potato flakes and some ground beef. Now, I'm going to go ahead and dump that in there.
Okay, so far so easy. My friends, I was watching a video about... it was an American guy talking about America. Basically, the video was... The guy was saying that America was better in the 80s and in the 90s. That was the golden era for America. Is this correct to say? Do you guys really believe the 80s and the 90s are the golden era of America? I mean, I have no idea, as you can imagine. But people say the same even here in Europe. So, you know, I see some similarities that people... Or do you think... Of course, it was different time, no internet, stuff like that. But you guys think people end up living better, the middle class, for example? Because middle class is what makes a country, you know, because you need a stronger middle class. Yes, it was the 60s. The 80s are the best. Bye, Alexander. The 80s. If you guys disagree, tell me. I mean, the guy said the 80s and the 90s, I believe, so...
Now, traditionally, that's all there was to it, folks. Some people might have had a little cornmeal. Some people might not have. So you just follow along and use whatever you got at home. But we're going to get this all mashed together because this is going to...
I'm saying this because from what I understand, America had a boom, right? In the sense that after World War II, a lot of people probably... Not a lot of people... So is true that, for example, some people end up studying for free in America? Because nowadays people say if you go to college, you go into debt a lot, right? This is a fact, right, my friends? But back in the day, the government even gave people free education. Can someone confirm this? The guy said this, by the way. If I'm wrong, look, I'm just saying what I saw on a video. I didn't fact check anything.
Make this go further than it would. And it was all about pinching pennies and stretching a dollar for the most it was.
Or college, for example, in the 60s or in the 70s. You guys remember this for sure. A lot of people will remember this, or even the 80s. Maybe the 90s was already expensive, but let's say the 70s. Was college affordable for Americans?
Or even like we said before, that slug. A lot of times if you think, oh, I done got way too many potato flakes in there or cornmeal, whatever you're using, and it's going to be a little dry. Some people might have went out.
Okay, sorry. We have to run this part back because this conversation is really interesting. The argument of the guy was that the baby boomer, better saying, generation, it was right now the richest, of course, not everyone. This is just a generalization, but the baby boomers in America, they are here in terms of being rich. They have a lot of money, you know, and they are living quite more than back in the day. So younger people and even people like my age, 30s, they struggle a bit more. There is some truth to this or not, my friends?
A lot of times if you think, oh, I done got...
Andre, do you know what baby boomers are? I believe baby boomers are kids that are born after World War II. Is this true, my friends? Is this correct?
Way too many potato flakes in there or cornmeal, whatever you're using, and it's going to be a little dry. Some people might have went out there to the hen house, got one of them cackleberries,
Yes,
snuck it
okay.
back in there and cracked it in there and mixed it with it. Some people also use broth in this method. So I don't think we're going to have a trouble being dry because we got 80-20 ground chuck here, which is 80% lean, 20% fat. We ain't talking about being on a diet today. We're talking about getting by on a nickel. A little salt and pepper, that was all they would have had. They had just put them on there after they got them made. But me,
But honestly, my friends, sorry for pausing so much here, but I saw that video about the baby boomers being very wealthy in general. And I saw people from the new generation, I believe they call Generation X or Generation Z. Which one it is? The kids nowadays. Generation Z, right? And the Generation Z was saying that they are poor because it was a controversial video. But I mean, I feel okay sharing this with you. It was an interesting video at the same time, but they are saying that they are poor because of the boomers. And, I'm not sure if I buy that. Because I also think people back in the day also end up living with less. If you know what I mean, I think this generation wants the new iPhone, wants not everyone again. This is just generalizations are always so dangerous. But I think also people end up being okay. I was talking about homes at the beginning. But I remember my parents and other people back in the day, they started building an house. They went to the house and the house was not finished at all. It was missing a lot of stuff. Even my generation, I'm a millennial, people want everything new. And they say, I cannot afford that. But different expectations.
I'm going to kick it up about 3
Did I make any sense?
notches here with a little chili powder. We're going to go once and then we're going to, oh my gosh, there must be some humidity.
Yo, my friends, this happens a lot in my kitchen. Sometimes the powder gets the humidity and it becomes a rock.
So we're going to give it a little shake and a little shake of garlic powder. Then we're going to mix again and we're going to see.
Because if they say boomers are the problem, but a lot of America right now was built by boomers also, right? So they did a lot of things also. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's a bit there is a contradiction here. If you guys understand, okay, they have everything, but they also end up building everything kinda.
Season it one more time. It's really, I think, the beginning of a meatloaf, maybe. Now we're going to season it again, then we're going to go to making us some of them patties. In 1929, the stock market crashed and the bottom dropped out of the economy. We're talking soup lines, dust storms, and whole families living on next to nothing. The Great Depression stretched through the 1930s.
Okay, I have a question here. So the stock market ended up crashing. I ended up studying this on school, by the way. Okay. I understand that a lot of Americans invest in the stock market, but I saw Donald Trump saying, and I actually agree with him here, that the stock market does not represent America. This is fair to say. So back in the day, the stock market ended up crashing. Why the hell did people become so poor all of a sudden? You know, because the stock market crashes every week or every 3 months. You know what I mean? And I don't think that represents America is not a stock market, right? At least I don't look at things that way. No jobs. It was a domino effect. The value of the dollar, no jobs, okay? Because of banks lost money. So what? But in 2008, there was also a huge crisis, right? Because the banks had no money. They ended up giving a lot of money away for people to buy homes. This was a bit different. Run on banks out of fear. Okay. Free money ruins everything. A front porch on the house. Oh, I know what you said there. It was for the thing I was saying at the beginning. You are probably a bit behind on the stream. Why work for money when you get money for free? Where the hell do you get money for free?
Families living on next to nothing. The Great Depression stretched through the 1930s and hit every corner of this country. But it hit hardest where folks had the least to begin with. Out west, the Dust Bowl stripped the land bare. Back east, banks were closing and taking folks' life savings with them. And down south, where this story's rooted, families were lucky if they could put beans and bread on the table, let alone meat. But here's where the Slugburger.
Damn, so again, I study in school, we study more about Europe history, Portuguese history for logic reasons. But I remember we ended up talking about this. But from 0 to 10, it's fair to say this was a 10 in terms of, yeah, it was really bad. Really, really bad.
Truly made its mark. It wasn't just a gimmick anymore. It became a symbol of how folks adapted. Diners and lunch counters across Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee started serving them up, especially in meal towns and railroad stops. For just 5 cents, a man could get something hot, crispy, and filling.
So people are saying this was the worst, but it was really the worst. Think about this. What about when America had civil war? Of course, I know this was way back, but maybe that was the worst time possible. You know what I mean? Of course, in modern times, because there is people alive that may still remember this, or the parents end up living through this, right? So, you know what I mean? Was this really the worst? Or it was, for example, Civil War the worst?
Back in the day, they were always deep fried. Whatever kind of oil they had laying around there. Lard was probably the #1 thing, but they would always usually coat them with just a little flour on both sides. Not much. Give them a little of that crust, because everybody said they were so crisp. But as it evolved, people were beginning to pan fry. You would even see some on a flat top griddle. But today, we going with the old timers we are. We're going to flour them just a little, put them over in the hot grease, and see what happens. But remember, when you're deep frying a piece of ground beef, you need to make them pretty thin so they'll fry pretty quick without burning that outside. So now, before we put that flour on there,
Wait, are we really going to deep fry burgers? Okay, this is the first time.
Salt and pepper. Give it a little pat into the meat. Season pretty heavy we did, because we're just seasoning one side. So a little sprinkling of flour. And then we'll come back and rub that in and turn it over on the other side. Be preheating your oil to 350 degrees. Any good high temp cooking oil will get you by.
This
See if one of them will come off there. Little flour on this side. Then we're going to check the oil temperature over there with the chef's temp and see where we're at.
It's American. Frying is American. No, that's for sure, my friend. Hell yeah.
Grease is at 347, it is. When you get these got the flour on it, give them just a little pat to get that excess off. Right down in the oil they go. and we is deep frying hamburger meat. Who'd have ever thought it?
Me neither.
We're gonna try to get golden brown on both sides and good and crispy, but remember, we gotta keep that meat done in the middle too, so I can't have no overcrowding, so it's looking like one at a time in the Dutch oven today.
And you know what's crazy? I bet this is really good. Yo, this is a basic thing, but for some reason I never thought about deep frying burgers. I'm gonna be honest, I never thought about this. And now it sounds obvious.
There's always a lot of good help when they smell meat. Whether it's frying, smoking, or on the grill of any type, they're always here. You break out the vegetables, they'll just go take a nap somewhere.
My friends, do you guys know, this is such an amazing joke. You guys know the worst day of the week for chickens? Friday. Let's continue, let's pretend this didn't happen.
Slugburgers became
Thanks, Empire. At least I got a lol.
a staple
Thank you.
in what we'd now call blue-collar diner culture. Every little town had a counter somewhere serving them up, with a smile and maybe a handful of pickles. It was food for the common man. No frills, just sustenance and soul. And you know what? Folks didn't forget. Every July, they still hold a Slugburger festival right there in Corinth. There's music, cook-offs, carnival rides, and plenty of those crispy burgers, served just like John Weeks made them 100 years ago.
How would it that 100%?
Copper pennies and a Slugburger. It's going to be a glorious day, I can already tell. Now, you see me when I was frying them, and I was sort of doing a shallow deep fry. Take that spatula and sort of splash some of that hot oil up there on the top. Helps them brown quicker on both sides. Did have to turn them over once.
You guys are saying my joke was bad. Okay, I'm gonna tell a much better joke. I was laughing the other day just thinking about this one. You guys know? Do you guys know what potatoes and tomatoes have in common? Toes, potatoes, tomatoes. They have toes. You know what I mean? Toes. This is a really good joke. They have that in common. They have toes. No.
You just cook them till they're good golden brown and crispy. Everything is good to go. I have never eaten anything like this in my life, but
My friends, that's a good joke. That's the type of joke I like.
I'm listening for the crunch.
That was somehow worse. Okay, let's enjoy Kent Rolling's. Yeah. You guys have the best joke. Tell me a joke right now. How good is that, my friend?
You know, I'm amazed. I really am. The crispiness, I think, is what sells it. But then I thought I was eating a hamburger that had potato chips in it.
Okay, my friends, I'm gonna tell my okay. Honestly, I have this joke saved for when my dad jokes don't work. This one always works. Should I tell the joke? Number one, if I tell this joke, and I'm telling you, this is a good one. It's a bit dark. It's a bit dark, my friends. I'm gonna be honest. It's a bit dark. Should I tell the joke? Number one. This is, my friends, be ready to spam LMFAO, LOL, smiley face, Andrei so funny. Okay, why the math book ended up killing himself. It was suicidal. Why did the math book, the thing, 1 + 1? I feel like my English being, my accent being this bad, it makes the jokes a bit worse. But why the math book ended up, killing himself because he had a lot of problems? No.
Because them potato flakes sort of swell up a little, and then when you deep fry them, ain't no more Happy Meal drive-up window. You can get your French fries and your burger all in one place right here. You can. Very good.
Was a good one or no? It was a good one. Really? You guys like it? No, be honest, my friends. You guys actually like it, that one? Andre, I'm giving you a joke. What do you call a dad like you? Oh my God, that's I end up going into that. John, tell me now. I want to know. John, we are waiting. A punishment. A punishment. No, that was not funny, John. No one is laughing at that.
I hope y'all enjoyed it because I love to go down history, and this is something I'd never eat before in my life. And really, I am fascinated by it. I'm going to make them a regular here at the house. But folks, remember that apron I got? You can't get full on fancy. You know, it ain't got to be fancy. It's just got to be good and filling. But what even makes it better than that and brings it to the best meal ever is when you gather folks around the table with you. We're all resilient. We all can make it. Hard times might be coming, but hey, you throw some food on the table, invite the neighbors over, grab a hand, bless it. Good things is coming your way, folks. 6 p.m. Central, big announcement.
Okay, I have a new one. Well, friends, I have a really good one. What when two butters say to each other when they are arguing against each other? You better believe me. I feel like that was good. I'm waiting for the reaction because there is delay. You better believe me. My butter says to the other butter, you better. It's not you.
Is coming. We want to share it with family and friends because y'all.
That was good. You better believe me. What the butter says to the other butter, you better believe me. Better believe me. And tell me the animal that butters love. The butter love the butterfly. Yeah, this is getting worse, right?
Are our family and friends. It's going to be a glorious day. It is. You can even make a Slugburger before 6 o'clock gets here, have a watch party. But it is with great pride, honor, and privilege that I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans who have kept that old flag a-flying. We commend you all. We do. Rest of you,
Great
get on
meeting.
in here for a Dust Bowl Depression-era hug. I'm going to shake the dirt off of me. God bless you, each and every one, and I'll see you down the Slugburger Trail.
Thank you, my friend. It's okay, Andre, I left it. Thank you. Our friends, from 0 to 10, how good this looks, to me 10. I would eat that 100%. Don't say, oh, it's a 9, it's a 10. I would eat that. This was an intense video, my friends. All the jokes. I'm telling you, my friends, I may have to do some stand-up show to YouTube. Can you imagine? Portuguese guy tries American stand-up. That could go viral. I'm gonna be honest. That could go viral. Or for the bad reasons, but